and I wanted Mom to see it too. I didn't know exactly how I was going to pull it off, but I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let things slide this time. Justin might be the golden child, but even golden children have to face reality eventually. And this time, I wasn't going to be the one to be the bigger person. Update 1. After that dinner, I decided to start setting boundaries. Not just with Justin, but with everyone who had been complicit in letting him get away with his behavior. It began with small steps. The next morning, Justin casually messaged in our family group chat, making a joke about the previous night. He framed it as if his comment about me overthinking everything was just harmless fun, like it hadn't humiliated me in front of the entire family. This time, I didn't brush it off. I responded calmly, pointing out that his remark had been uncalled for. Justin reacted the way I expected, laughing it off with a series of relax. It's not that deep messages. The family chat went quiet after that. I could almost imagine the awkwardness on their faces as they read the exchange. Justin was used to me letting things slide. When I didn't, he seemed thrown off, but he didn't take it seriously. He probably assumed I'd get over it like always. Later that day, Mom called me. Her voice had that slightly exasperated tone she always uses when she's about to tell me to be the bigger person. She started in on how I should let the whole thing go for the sake of family unity. "You know how Justin is," she said. But instead of arguing, I simply told her I wasn't willing to ignore it anymore. I kept my tone calm and firm. There was a pause on her end, like she didn't know how to respond. I think she expected me to either argue or give in, but I did neither. That was my first small victory. A few days later, I learned there was a family dinner coming up at my aunt's house. It was one of those semi-regular gatherings where everyone shows up, cousins, uncles, family friends. These events were Justin's playground. He thrived on being the center of attention, charming everyone with his jokes and stories. I decided this was where I'd make my move. Before the dinner, Dad pulled me aside while I was visiting him and Mom. He told me he had noticed Justin's behavior and that I wasn't wrong to call him out. He admitted he hadn't spoken up before because he didn't want to cause tension, but he promised he'd back me up if things escalated. Hearing that gave me a quiet sense of relief. For once, I wouldn't feel completely alone in this. Meanwhile, Justin was his usual self, acting like nothing had happened. I overheard from my cousin Julia that he'd been joking behind my back, saying I was on one lately and would cool off eventually. He wasn't taking any of this seriously, and that only solidified my resolve. I stopped engaging with him entirely in the lead up to the dinner. No sarcastic replies, no frustrated comebacks, just silence. It clearly unsettled him. At one point during a casual family meetup, he tried baiting me with a snide comment about how I'd been too busy for the family group chat. I just smiled politely and walked away. His smirk faltered, but he didn't push further. That moment told me I was on the right track. The day of the dinner arrived, and the house was buzzing with chatter and laughter. As expected, Justin was in his element, making jokes and basking in the attention. I played it cool, chatting with cousins and catching up with family I hadn't seen in a while. At one point, my aunt leaned in and quietly told me she'd noticed how Justin treated me over the years. "I've always thought you handled it better than I would," she said. That gave me a little extra confidence. When dinner was served, I made my move. The conversation naturally shifted to family memories, and I casually brought up the last dinner. I mentioned Justin's comment, framing it as a lighthearted question. "Hey Justin, remember when you said I overthink everything? What did you mean by that?" The table went quiet. Justin blinked, clearly caught off guard. He tried to laugh it off, saying I was making it a bigger deal than it was. But I didn't let it slide. I calmly asked if he thought it was okay to make